Let's have a look at a few examples of the hardest examples that they usually set on change of subject of formula. Okay, here's an example. Quite often you'll see in these sort of questions brackets appearing. We've got a formula, there is no subject as it stands, and we've got to make x the subject of the formula. Okay, as with most of these either equations or formula with brackets in, usually the thing that we try and do is expand out the brackets, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Let's expand out the brackets and see where that takes us. So here we go. 2 times x, change that to 2x. 2 times the plus 2y is plus 4y. So 2x plus 4y is equal to, expand out this bracket, a times x is ax, a times negative 2 is negative 2a's. Even if you hadn't got a clue where to go from there, if you do that and get it correct, you'll get 1 mark. So it's always worth expanding out the brackets in these change of subject questions. Now, we're trying to find out what x is as the subject. So we've got to get x on its own on either the left or the right, it doesn't matter, of the formula, but it's got to be on its own. You can see an x on the left, you can see an x on the right. What you need to do is combine the x's together, either both on the left or both on the right. Now normally when we're doing equations, we would normally take the x's to the side with most x's. So for example, if you had 3x plus 1 is equal to 7x plus 2, something like that for an equation, and you've got x's on both sides, there's more x's on the right, so you would take the x's to the right hand side like this. You'd get 7x take away 3x on the right and leave the plus 1 on the left, and the plus 2 would become a minus 2 on the left. That's what you'd do. Now in this particular case, because you've got 2x and ax, it's not possible to tell which of those two x terms is bigger, because you've got ax's and 2x's. You're not comparing two numbers. So the bottom line is, which side do we collect the x's on? And the answer is, for this type of question, it doesn't matter. So I would suggest to you, for this type of question, always take the x's, or the thing that you're trying to find the subject for, to the left hand side. So I'm going to leave the 2x where it is on the left, and I'm going to take the ax to the other side, making it a minus ax on the left, equals. I now take all the other things to the other side. Well, I've got a minus 2a, don't forget the minus. It doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't change sign, so it's still minus 2a. I then have that plus 4y, which I need to drag across to the other side. That plus 4y taken across becomes a minus 4y, so we get to there. Now, in this particular instance, when we're doing equations, you're able to say that 7x's take away 3x's, because you had two nice numbers, 7 and 3, to work with, you can just work that out to give 4x's. So you get a single amount of x, 4x's, which then you can divide by 4 to get x. So you get 1 minus 2 is minus 1, and then you'd share minus 1 by 4 to get x. So 7x minus 3x you can easily work out to give 4x, no problem. But here on the left we've got 2x's take away ax's. Well, you haven't got two number amounts of x's, so we seem to have a problem. Well, it's not that difficult, but you've got to recognise that this is a special example. When you have something like 2x's take away ax's, what you need to do is now factorise it using common factor. And that's a set technique that you should be learning for this type of problem on change of subject, where you've got something like 2x take away ax to sort out. So you take out a common factor of x, and the rest goes inside a bracket. So you say x times 2 gives you 2x, x times negative a gives you minus ax, and you leave the other side alone. There you go. Now, the beauty of doing that is, on the left, can you see that x only appears once? So I can now get x on its own if I could only get rid of the bracket. Well, how would I get rid of that bracket? Well, it's easy. You just divide by the bracket. You divide this side by the bracket, it disappears, and you just get x. So you take the other side, take the whole thing, put it in a bracket, and you divide that by the bracket 2 minus a as well. And there you go, you've got x on its own as the subject of the formula, and it is equal to that. There we go, that's question 1 completed. Okay, let's have a look at another one. I'll do this one a bit quicker. So question 2. Okay, here we go, very quickly then. Question 2. How about 3x minus 5 lots of 2y plus 1 is equal to x y minus 3, and I want to change the subject so I get y as the subject of that formula. Okay, well you can see there's a y there and there's a y there, so there's 2 lots of y going on. So at some point in time when I collect them together, I've got to combine them together to get 1 lot of y before I can get y on its own. So the technique I would suggest involves expanding out the brackets. So let's do that. Well, first of all, you've got to realise that 3x is not stuck onto the bracket. The bracket is just simply minus 5 lots of the bracket. The 3x has got nothing to do with the bracket. 3x's take away 5 lots of the bracket. So you just leave the 3x totally unchanged. Don't touch that. And now you say minus 5. Notice I'm underlining the minus as well as the 5. Minus 5 times 2y is minus 10y's. Minus 5 times plus 1 is minus 5. We're multiplying them, don't forget. Minus 5 equals, expand this out. You've got x times y is xy, and x times negative 3 is negative 3x. Okay, we want y's. We've got y's on the left, we've got y's on the right. Which side's got most y's? I don't know, because this is minus 10y and that's xy. So if you're not sure which side to collect them on, the answer is it doesn't matter here. Let's take them to the left. So I'm going to leave the minus 10y on the left. That stays put, that stays where it is. The xy I'm going to drag across to the other side to make it minus xy, like so. Equals. Everything else goes the other way. Well, what have I got? I've got a minus 5. Take that over, becomes a plus 5. I've got this 3x. Take it over to the other side, becomes a minus 3x. So that 3x, take it over, becomes a minus 3x. I've also still got that minus 3x, which is still there. That hasn't changed, and it doesn't change sign. So I've got that. Now looking at these two here, they're both x's, so actually I can actually put those two terms together. So if I can simplify like that, I should do. If you don't, they may penalise you a small portion of marks. So on the right, I'd leave that as 5, and then minus 3x with minus 3x is minus 6x using army method. Minus army 3 meets minus army 3. On the left, what's going on here? Well, you've got minus 10y take away xy. You can't work that out simply like you would two numbers, like you did minus 3x, because minus 10y minus xy, how do you work that out? It's not easy to work out. So we use this method I did in question 1. There's a y in both terms. Take out that y as a common factor. Y times minus 10 gives you minus 10y, and y times minus x gives you minus xy. So now I've just got y appearing once. I can get y on its own simply by getting rid of that bracket. So to get rid of the bracket, I share by minus 10 minus x in a bracket. I get y equals, you take the 5 minus 6x, put it in a bracket, and you've got to share that by minus 10 minus x as well. And there you go, there's a formula for y. Y is equal to 5 minus 6x on the top over minus 10 minus x on the bottom. And that is a difficult example of change of subject of formula using the common factor technique. That's the end of this video.